Look at that. Isn't that a great layout? You son of a gun.
This campaign is no good.
No good!
Darren and Larry, the original Mad Men on Bewitched.
Hi, I'm John Mallis, and welcome to Connect with Me, live on the showroom floor at Ventura TV, once again on Comcast 187 and 43.6. Today it's my pleasure once again to have Margaret Mims on the program. We're going to be talking about all sorts of things, including that letter that she sent to Vice President Joseph Biden. We're back with your phone calls, 265-4331, in just a moment. And welcome back to the program. Hope you call in today. Our phone line is open, 265-4331. We're going to be talking about all sorts of things. And one of my favorite people of all time to have on this program is Sheriff Margaret Mims. She has a lot of guts and a lot of gumption, and I'll tell you what, a lot of life and energy, and just love her to death. I'm not saying that just because she's sitting here ready to draw down on me, okay? I'm not doing it because of that. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. But anyway, your phone calls are encouraged. We're going to have a fun time here on the show today. You know, oftentimes when you turn on the TV, you might see Margaret Mims talking about the right to bear arms. Maybe you might see her at a news conference talking about a pot bust, maybe a shooting, or whatever might have gone on for that particular day or the day before. You might also see her in a joint news conference with Chief Dyer and other law enforcement officials, and you might see her talking about breast cancer because she is a survivor. But there are very few moments or very few times that you might see Margaret Mims in a setting like this.
I thank you for allowing me to talk about my personal story and challenges I've overcome only because of faith and only because God allows me. And about the time I start getting a little too big for my britches, you know, because I get to go to a lot of neat things, and I get to meet a lot of what you might think is important people. But there's a verse in Corinthians, and it says, I am what I am by God's grace. It's not me, but God's grace that works through me. It's not me, it's God's grace. And that's what I use to remind myself of where I should be. I should be grounded. I should remember where I came from, and I'm proud of those very humble roots.
And that was Margaret Mims speaking at the Christian Business Women's Connection in December. And live in our studio now is Sheriff Margaret Mims. She's here to talk about gun control and other issues that maybe you'd like to talk about. So the phone number, as usual, 265-4331 on a Friday here on Me TV Fresno. Back in a moment.
Frigidaire. We introduced the first home freezer, the first pulsator agitator washer, and now we introduce the Frigidaire Orbit Clean Dishwasher, designed with a unique wash arm that gives you 4 times more water coverage for a consistently better clean. Frigidaire, over 90 years of legendary innovation.
See the full line of Frigidaire appliances at Ventura TV Electronics and Appliances.
And we are back here on the program on this Friday talking with Sheriff Margaret Mims. Good to see you again.
Nice to see you, John.
It's my pleasure, and thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Gosh, that was that videotape we saw a couple of minutes ago. Are you in tears?
Well, it
all
made
right?
me teary because it did remind me that I'm a person. I'm just a person of faith who has a job that I love to do, and it's important to me to pass that message on to the public.
That's right. We have a phone call. Let's take a quick call here. Good morning. You're on Connect with Me. How are you? Hello? Oh, I guess they didn't really want to talk to us. But anyway, are you a religious person?
I'm Baptist. I don't.
Right.
Many people have different, different ideas of what religious. I'm a person of faith. I'm a Christian. When we're able to attend church, we go to Selma First Baptist, and I would say I'm just a person of deep faith who knows that Nothing happens by accident. You know, about the time we think we're in control, we realize it's really God's plan. We're not in control of anything. We make our choices, we make our decisions, but God's really in control.
Yeah, he is. And so you are, well, we got another phone call here, a different one. Good morning. You're on Connect with Me. How are you this morning? You're on with Sheriff Mims. Good morning. Hello. Oh, we're having a problem with the phones here, Ara? No? No problem with the phones? Okay. Maybe just a wrong number. Who knows? Call. Let's try. You know, third time might be a charm. Okay, this one is going to be a good one. All right. Hello. How are you?
I'm fine.
Good. You're on with Sheriff Mims. How's it going?
Going good.
Okay. What's your question?
Well, first I'd just like to commend the sheriff on the comments she just made about faith and so on, because the good Lord didn't come to earth to establish a few hundred different denominations. He comes to earth to establish a kingdom. And if they get into gun rights, I commend her on her stand on that, because there's not enough people that speak up. And I got no problem with a person that don't want to have a gun in their house. They don't want one, fine. But I don't want them telling me I can't have one. And also, I would like to make a comment on the guy they had on there before that was trying to limit automatics to the 10-round magazine. My question is, are they going to limit the criminals to a 10-round magazine? Thank you, and have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Want
Thank
comment?
you for your kind words. You know, no, the criminals aren't going to pay attention to any current laws or any new laws that are made. They are going to be able to get any weapon they want, any amount of ammunition that they want. And so that's why I think creating new laws are so very ridiculous. We can't even enforce the laws we have now. There was a story a couple of weeks ago that came out. California Department of Justice knows there are 20,000 people that are prohibited from having guns. They have 40,000 weapons, and they don't have the resources to go after the people they already know have them illegally. So why would you create more laws?
Yeah. Well, with a lot of people, it doesn't make sense. We got another call. Good morning. You're on Connect with Me. How are you?
Hi, I'm just calling to give a statement on how I feel about the guns.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, I just was wanting to tell her that, you know, it's scary because, you know, if they take the guns and stuff away from us, you know, I mean, is it going to become like the economists, you know, like in China, where they just control the whole everybody, you know, because, you know, it's been shared that that's what the economy's been trying to do, is make this like China.
Are you worried that the government is trying to take our guns away and eventually that they will?
Yes, for that simple fact, to control. Not because of what the guy did, but for control.
Is that the direction we're moving in, Sheriff Mims?
Yeah, you know, it's kind of worries me because I got small children, and I was told by a doctor that I met, you know, at a restaurant one day. He was telling me that the economy wants to, you know, control, and they want to take over, you know, and make this like China, you know, where they can just go in and take your children and train them.
Okay.
You know, and he was giving me that statement, and when I was hearing her, you know, there's a lot of different, you know, ways of thinking of it, you know. What about the people that got good jobs and stuff, you know, will they be able to, you know, somebody who's in, you know, like cops, not only cops, but other people, you know, that are attorneys or stuff, you know, they should allow not only, you know, the cops to have guns, but, you know, people also that are, you know, tested, they should have to go through some kind of, you know, schooling and, you know, almost like psychiatry to get, you know, allowed to have guns.
Well, let Sheriff Mims respond to your question. I appreciate the phone call and the comments, and just wondering, is the government moving in that direction with everything going on?
I think that's the direction the government would like to move into. What I see happening is they'll gradually make an announcement and then stop and wait to see what the response is going to be. And there's been so much pushback.
So it's like taking little tiny small steps.
Exactly, exactly. And the pushback on it so far has been great against any kind of gun control. I don't believe Senator Feinstein's current proposal that she has outlined to ban automatic weapons is going to make it through Congress. She has been a great advocate for law enforcement when it comes to our meth task forces. She's been helping us a lot with that. But on this issue, I just don't agree. More gun laws is not going to fix anything.
I want to roll some videotape here because I went to the range there recently, and we took some videotape of people actually in the range buying guns, looking at guns. We even found some senior citizens. In fact, there's a couple right there, Sheriff Mims, looking to possibly purchase a handgun right there. And, just last month, President Obama, through executive order, 23 new gun laws on the books. Now, you wrote a letter to Vice President Joseph Biden, and we're going to put that up on the screen and let it roll for about 30 or 40 seconds so our viewers can actually read it. What was the purpose of the letter? And do you think, in your own mind, there's the letter right there, you think Joseph Biden, do you think he actually read it?
Well, I'll answer that last question first. No, he probably did not actually read it. I think he has a lot of staff, a lot of people that are helpers that probably advise him. He might have seen a list of sheriffs that wrote letters. Whether or not he actually read my letter personally, I doubt it. But I mean,
it was something you had to get off your chest, right?
I had to make sure that Washington knew the opinion of at least the Fresno County Sheriff and what I was going to be able to do to resist any kind of gun control efforts. I do not have to enforce.
I mean, basically in the letter you say that you're not going to trample or violate the rights of people to bear arms in Fresno County. You're not going to trample on the Constitution.
The Second Amendment is very, very clear. It says that right shall not be infringed. And
Right.
we need to emphasize that.
Okay, another call before we go to break. Good morning, you're on Connect with Me. How are you?
Yeah, I want to talk to the connection with me.
Yeah, go ahead. You're on with Sheriff Mims. Go ahead.
Yes, I have a question.
Go ahead. Quick, you're on the air.
I don't agree with everything, but I believe that what's happening with the automatic weapons, that most of the killings are done by people that own the weapons and they have no criminal records, but they reverse the problem and say that they're the ones that are criminals are the ones that do killing. In Connecticut, there was a person that had no criminal records. In Arizona, the person that shot the senator was no criminal record. So people are getting confused what's going on.
Okay, well, thank you for your comment. Thank you for your time. I want to quickly respond to that before we go to break.
I wasn't able to hear him clearly what the point was.
Yeah, I'm not sure quite what his point was either, but he was saying like this guy in Connecticut, he didn't obtain those guns illegally. But the question is, okay, if you put all these laws on the books, will it stop these mass shootings?
And as far as the murderer in Connecticut, he had weapons he should not have had access to. They were his mother's weapons. Mm-hmm. She had them legally. She had them in the safe. However, she had given him information on how to get access. So he should not have had those weapons, and there should have been more responsibility there.
I know. We got to go to break, but I want to take this call real quick. Good morning. You're on Connect with Me. How are you?
Great. Yourself?
Good. What's your question, quickly?
I want to know if two wrongs don't make a right, how many rights did it take to fly an airplane? Come on, run it through, man.
Well, I'm not quite sure what you mean by that, but we're talking about gun control here. So what's your point?
Well, what's in the Constitution of the United States, man?
Yeah, it's the right to bear arms. We know.
Right. That's right. Why should that be changed?
Yeah.
So if it's two wrongs don't make a right, then how many rights did it take to fly an airplane?
All right. Thank you for your call. I appreciate it. We're going to continue our conversation with Margaret Mims, the sheriff of Fresno County, and also your phone calls at 265-4331.
You tell me who I am.
They called you West.
Jim West.
Mr. West.
West! Well, my name is James West.
A truly great man.
Brilliant.
Secret Service agent.
What's next? Come on, I'm waiting.
Man of action. He's James West.
Where's Jim West?
On the Wild Wild West. Weekdays at 4, 3 Central on MeTV.
And we're glad to have you back here with Sheriff Margaret Mims. We do have another phone call. Might as well take it, right?
Sure.
Good morning. You're on Connect with Me. How are you?
I'm fine, and you?
Hey, pretty good. What's your question?
My question is one thing. Last year, an acquaintance of mine who was a U.S. Marshal said that, he said at that time, in 2 to 3 years, they would be going door to door to find out the weapons that people had and confiscate the ones that were not to be there or the ones that were not registered by law. And I don't know if anyone has heard anything about that other than me. I know when I heard it, I thought it was a little out there, but coming from him, I believed what he had to say. And the other thing, I read Margaret Mims' letter in one of the magazines that are out in this area, and I really was proud of the letter that she sent to President Biden. Along with her, one of my many great-grandfathers served in the Revolutionary War under Washington. My father served World War II, Germany, Korea, and in between, in the Civil War, all on his side of the family were warriors. I do not. He fought, they all fought for our rights to bear arms. I do not plan on giving up any weapons I have to anyone.
Okay, well, thank you for your comment and your call. So what have you heard about the government going door to door? They can't do that right now.
Well, I first want to thank the caller and her family for their service to the country. That's just an amazing story. I believe that there are people in government that would like to do exactly that. And sheriffs especially need to be the people that take a stand and say, you are not coming into my county and taking weapons from my law-abiding citizens. You're not going to make them criminals. And that's basically what my letter said.
Right.
And that's an important thing. I have not heard any serious efforts going that direction, but my feeling is there are plenty of people in government that'd like to do that.
But here's the question I have. Would you be violating the law if you don't enforce the law that the president instilled upon us last couple of months with these 23 executive orders?
No, and there's the beauty of that is there's already case law and court precedent that says the federal government cannot compel a local sheriff to do anything.
Okay, we got it. Okay, we are going to take another call. Good morning, you're on Connect with Me. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing fine. You know, Fresno County is such a large area. I'm quite interested, how many square miles they cover and what size the force is and everything. Congratulate, it's quite an immense area.
Mm-hmm.
6,000 square miles.
Yeah. And how many deputies do you have to cover that?
We have total about 400 deputy sheriffs. 100 of those work in court security. We only have a couple hundred deputies that I have to be able to assign to patrol as well as investigative functions. So we get spread thin very quickly.
Yeah, which brings me to the next topic. The state of California helping Fresno County. You only get what, about $12,000 a year from the state to help fight crime in this area?
Well, we get a little
more.
Yeah, we get a little more than that. And there's different funding sources depending on different grants that we get. The biggest chunk of money that we get right now is from realignment, AB 109, that so many people have heard of.
Yep.
However, we don't get a proportionate share for the number of inmates coming back into our care and custody than what the state spent on them. So we have
because of the prison realignment, you're getting more criminals in the jails, and you don't have enough money or personnel to deal with it.
Right. We have a coalition of Central California legislators who are fighting to make sure that we get that proportionate share.
How much money do you get from the state, roughly speaking?
For that particular, we get about $12 million.
$12 million. Okay, I said 12,000. It's actually 12 million.
Yes.
And you would like to see that jump up to what? Maybe.
Well, we need
double that.
Double that would be good. For instance, Bay Area states got about $42,000 per inmate. We got about $17,000 per inmate. So, and they sent fewer people to prison. So if the purpose of realignment was to cover the impact of people returning from state prison, we should have got a larger share of that.
Okay. Good morning. You're on Connect with Me. How are you?
I'm great.
Good. What's your question for Sheriff Mims?
I have a statement. I'm honorably retired from law enforcement.
Okay. You're retired from law enforcement?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What's your quick question? Hurry.
I'd just like to say that I'm backing Sheriff Mims and
Okay. Well, I appreciate it. Apparently he backs you and whatever.
Thank you, and thank you for your service to the public. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So, the jails, give us a quick synopsis here in 30 seconds. The jails are they is the jail overcrowded right now?
No, we are prohibited from being overcrowded, and that's a misunderstanding I think the public has.
Okay.
We cannot be overcrowded because of a consent decree. So when we reach a certain population, we are required to release inmates from jail. So we are not overcrowded. We can't be overcrowded.
Right, and you're releasing the people that are the least dangerous to society, so to speak. You know what I mean.
Yes, based on our best analysis of who we have in jail at that particular time, we have to make a very difficult decision about who to
You're
release.
not releasing felons, so we don't have
Maybe,
to worry about it.
yes, sometimes we are. We have an
Really?
all-felony jail. We
Oh.
don't have any misdemeanors in jail. It's all felonies.
So you will release felons if you have to, by
we
law.
We are required to,
by
yes.
law. That's scary. Wow. We got another phone call, but we got to take a break. We're talking with Sheriff Mims here on Connect with Me. We're back in just a moment.
Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're the save energy, save time, save money place. The Energy Star qualified #1 rated high efficiency Cabrio from Whirlpool Place. You heard right. Right now, save big on select Whirlpool Cabrio laundry pairs and pay no interest when paid in full within 6 months. At the hometown low price, think outside the big box place. Since 1951, Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're working hard to be your place.
And we are back with Sheriff Mims here on Connect with Me. Let's take a quick call and we'll ask her some more questions here. Good morning. Whoops, got tired of waiting. Well, let me ask you about your legal battle with the Fresno County supervisors. It's no big secret. It's been all over the news, all over the newspapers. So basically the legal fight is kind of over for now, and so the Fresno County supervisors, they basically have control of the jail, and that's what the big beef was over, right?
Well, they don't.
They don't have control?
No, they absolutely do not. And that
You still have control?
I have control of the jail. There's
But they have control over the finances, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
That's
all right.
the difference.
All right.
And I have always conceded that point. They tell me how much money I have. I make the decision on how to spend it. In this whole lawsuit, both sides won a little bit and we lost a little bit. And I came to a point, just because of an improving relationship, their dedication to funding the jail, I said, we can end this and come to an amicable agreement. And that's what we've done.
The thing I liked about you is that you stood up to them and you showed a lot of guts. I mean, when you said, okay, if you don't want to give me enough money to run that jail, I'm going to start releasing prisoners. Simple as that. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And what brought you to that decision? That was a very courageous thing to do and to say. Very gutsy.
The money that was cut was what we call our general fund or net county cost, without getting into the weeds of county finances. But it is only a sliver of our revenue that we get. 49% of the money that comes into the sheriff's office is from third party grants, contracts, that kind of funding. Less than half comes from actually the supervisors that give me the money.
Right.
So that's the money that had to get cut.
Do you feel comfortable with the supervisors in charge of the finances for the jail? Do you feel totally comfortable with that?
No, I'm not.
Because
but that's the law. They control the finances. My responsibility is to just give them my best effort in justifying what we're spending and how we're spending it.
And you think you know how to spend that money more wisely than they do?
Well, I think I have 33 years of law enforcement experience, and they don't.
Yeah. And do you think that'll ever change? Do you think would you ever go back to court and say, hey, look, you guys are not spending this money properly. We're having problems at the jail. I'm going to take you guys to court. Would that ever happen again?
The only way I would do that is if they did make some kind of overt action into an area where I think I have the authority to do that. It's kind of like the Second Amendment issues.
Right.
You know, there are boundaries, and I have to
Explain
make
to
sure
us,
that.
now the supervisors are in charge of the finances. They decide how much money to give you to run the jail and this and that. What are you in charge of as sheriff of Fresno County?
How to use that money.
Okay.
You know, how to use that money. They decide, for instance, how many positions that I have, how much money that I get.
Right.
But for instance, I make the decision about, let's take ag crimes. I make a decision about putting deputy sheriffs that aren't paid for by grants and contracts into the ag crimes unit. The Board of Supervisors can't say, Sheriff, we don't want you to put deputies there. We want you to put them over here. As far as deployment, they have no authority. And in fact, they agree with how I'm deploying some of our deputies, because ag crimes is a big problem in Fresno County.
Right. And do you think at this point you can just mend the relationship with the supervisors and just move on?
We already have.
Okay.
If part of my decision in ending that lawsuit was conversations that I had with individual supervisors.
Right.
And we have come to terms.
All right. Take another phone call. Good morning. You're on with Sheriff Mims. How are you?
Good. Yourself?
Hey, pretty good this morning. It's a Friday, right?
You bet.
What's your question?
Well, I would just like to remind everybody, really, that the Second Amendment has nothing to do with hunting. It was written to ensure that the people will always have the means by which to resist an abusive, out-of-control government and for self-protection. And that's the basis of it. It is a right. It's not a privilege, it's a right. And the statistics show that the 300 or 400 million some odd gun owners in this country do not abuse that right. There's a very few people who are sick who are doing all of the problem, and the Democratic response has always been to go after the weapon or the instrument rather than deal with the problem.
Okay, let Sheriff Mims respond to that because you've got very little time left. Thank you for the call. I appreciate it.
He's absolutely right. That was the purpose and the intent of the Second Amendment. And there are people who will argue that and say that, well, the militia means military, some kind of organized military, and it's not. Even the U.S. Supreme Court a couple of years ago made the decision that the militias is the public. And so that was a very important decision.
Right. See any chance of the police and sheriff ever merging in this county?
I think we can integrate services better than we do. We've already made great strides in doing that. It makes more sense to merge the smaller agencies with the sheriff's office rather than a large agency. Yeah. The larger you are, the more you can really stand alone. Right. We are in continuous talks about how we can merge and services and integrate those services rather than a whole agency, one big agency.
The thing I can't believe, the city is crying they're short on money, and they spent $50,000 on a consultant to study this. Should the police merge with the sheriff and vice versa? I don't get that. But anyway, you don't need a consultant for that. You can just talk to Chief Dyer about it,
all
right?
we have to do is walk across the street. That's all we have to do.
Gosh, no time for no more phone calls, right? We only got 30 seconds left. Okay, any final thoughts about gun control that you'd like to stress to our viewers, because we've got about 20 seconds left here.
Right. My information to the viewers is I'm going to stand up for your rights. I think I take that responsibility very, very deeply. I get it. It is the number one issue I get asked about anywhere I go in Fresno County, and you can depend on me to stand up for your rights.
Well, we appreciate your time and coming in on Friday, and good luck. You're welcome on this program anytime.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry we made you tear up. That was such a beautiful speech you made. It was beautiful.
It made the hair on my arm stand up a little bit.
All right, Sheriff Margaret Mims here on the program on Monday. Dennis Hart of KMJ. He's on the air, off the presses, and right now we're off the air because we got to go. We're out of time. See you back on Monday. Have a great weekend.
James Arness is Marshal Matt Dillon.
They were looking for me. They're going to be back.
On Gunsmoke.
That's right.
Weekdays at 1 on MeTV.